Witchcrafts are a dark reality in Malaysia that has plagued the country for many years. It's linked to traditional healing practices and animism, a belief system that attributes spiritual qualities to natural objects and phenomena. In some parts of Malaysia, there is a deep-rooted belief in the power of witchcraft, also known as ilmu hitam. It is believed that witchcraft can be used to gain instant wealth, harm others, or even cause death. This belief has led to numerous incidents where individuals have been accused of practicing black magic and subsequently attacked or killed. In today's case, we will explore one of the most notorious witchcraft killer in history. In the quiet town of Pahang, Malaysia, a murder case shocked the nation. It was a gruesome and bizarre crime that involved witchcraft, political ambition, and a pop singer turned murderer. This is the story of Mona Fandey, a woman who went from being a pop star to a witch doctor and eventually a convicted murderer. Mona Fandey, born Masna Ismail in 1956, was a talented singer and dancer in her youth. She gained popularity as a pop singer and even released an album titled Diana. However, her music career was short-lived and Mona decided to pursue a career in spiritual practices, particularly in witchcraft. She and her husband, Muhammad Mona Fandey Abdul Rahman, became known as Bomos, or local shaman. Mona offered her services to clients mostly from the upper-class society. Her clientele included politicians who sought her help to boost their careers. Mazlan Idris, a state assemblyman for the constituency of Batu Talam in Pahang, approached Mona Fandey for her services. Mona promised to help Mazlan by giving him a talisman consisting of a cane and spatnai, a headgear which was supposedly owned by former Indonesian President Sukarno. Mona told Mazlan that he would be invincible if he held the talisman. In return, Mona demanded 2.5 million Malaysian dollar, which would be 1.1 million US dollars after inflation. Mazlan was eventually convinced and paid the couple 500,000 Malaysian dollar as a deposit and gave them 10 land titles as surety for the remaining 2 million. Little did he know that the talisman he was promised would be his death warrant. Soon, an appointment was made for cleansing rituals to be performed at Mona's house. Mazlan was told to lie on the floor, face up, while Mona placed flowers on him. She then told Mazlan to close his eyes and wait for the money to fall from the sky. At the most unexpected moment, Zhu Remy, the couple's assistant at the time, then used an axe and chopped Mazlan's head off. They also dismembered and partially skinned Mazlan's body. His body was then dissected into 18 parts, buried in a storeroom near Mona's house in Pahang. Mazlan was reported missing on July 2, 1993. The police launched a search for him. At first, they could not find any leads or clues as to his whereabouts. However, suspicions were raised when Mazlan's bank account was found to have been emptied. The police then started to investigate the matter and soon discovered that Mazlan had been in contact with Mona. The police started to focus their investigation on Mona Fandey and her husband. When they searched Mona's house, they found evidence that pointed towards her involvement in Mazlan's disappearance. It was discovered that Mona had purchased a large amount of cement, which she claimed was for renovating her house. However, on July 22, 1993, when the police dug up the storeroom at the back of Mona's house, they found all of Mazlan's dismembered body parts. After the gruesome discovery, Mona, her husband, and the assistant were all arrested and a highly publicized trial began. The police had to piece together the evidence to find out what had happened to Mazlan. The assistant was the one who provided the police with the crucial information that led to the discovery of Mazlan's body. He confessed to his role in the murder and told the police what had happened on the night of the murder, including the notorious methods used to dismember the body. The murder trial of Mona Fandey and the others lasted for 65 days and heard evidence from 76 witnesses. The prosecution argued that the motive for the murder was money, and they pointed to the shopping spree, the facelift, and the Mercedes that Mona had bought after the murder. The defense argued it was Mazlan that had owed the couple 2 million Malaysian dollars for the promised magic cane, talisman, and spakmi. However, it only took the 7-member jury just 70 minutes to reach a unanimous verdict of guilty against all 3 defendants, and they were ultimately sentenced to death by hanging. The trial was a media sensation. Throughout the trial, Mona had a penchant for wearing expensive outfits to court each day. Unlike most people on trial for their lives, she always had a smile for the media and seemed to revel in the attention. After hearing her sentence, Mona said, "I am happy and thank you to all Malaysians." She was photographed, smiling as usual as she was led from the court to prison. During her time in prison, she reportedly spent much of her time reading the Quran and seeking spiritual guidance from the prison's imam. There have been some reports that suggest that Mona Fandey continued to maintain her innocence until her execution. Despite the overwhelming evidence presented against her and her co-conspirators, she may have believed that she was the victim of a miscarriage of justice. After spending almost 2 years in death row, Mona and the others filed appeals to the federal court. The appeal process soon began in 1998, but was adjourned until 1999, after legal arguments on the admissibility of Jeremy's statement to the police, which led to the discovery of Mazlan's body. In April 1999, the appeals of all 3 convicts were dismissed and their death sentences were upheld. The 3 convicts then sought to obtain a pardon or clemency from the Pardons Board of Pahang, their final chance redemption. However, the board refused to give clemency. Mona, Fandey, and Jeremy were finally hanged on November 2, 2001. Before her execution, Mona's last words shocked the nation. She uttered, "I will never die." These words have since become infamous and have contributed to the legend of Mona Fandey. It is unclear what exactly Mona meant by her last words. Some have speculated that it was a sign of defiance, while others believe it was a statement of her belief in the power of magic and witchcraft. It was said that she achieved her dream after all, that her name will never, ever be forgotten.